Hey, how's it doing? My name's Chris. Welcome to the BrassGate. This is an induction on how to use the Jimmy Bones sales consultant system, which is built into the BrassGate system, which is here to help solo developers, small developers, and teams. And this part of the BrassGate system is designed to help you with your sales journey. If you need to basically find inroads for sales, if you need to basically work on an ethical sales program to deal with ways to basically engage with clients, this is how we do it. Okay, so first things first. What I'm going to do is go over to my Assistants Deluxe over here, and I'm going to have a look at my document repo just here. Now, if you give it a second to load, inside my document repo I've got all of the documentation. Now in my case it's all my documentation to do with the BrassGate inside of here, okay? So all of these things are approved and indexed. I can add more documents, I can add as many documents as I'm allowed to have inside of my account based on my plan. So I'm using quite a high level plan, so I can have quite a lot of documents. The more documents I've got inside of my system, the more information I can index, basically the more knowledge the system has about my project. Okay, so this is all data. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to load up Jimmy, and Jimmy's just down here. If I just click on here, now Jimmy Bones is basically a test system. Okay, so it's being refined at the moment, and what it allows me to do is build comprehensive, complicated ideas on how to pitch and sell, how to seek funding, and how to do anything else that would require a consultant in a high-level position focused on sales, investment, and that sort of thing. This isn't marketing, this is a purely different thing. Now we've got three different roles we can click into. We've got consultant, strategist, and coffee mode. And I'll talk about all three of them, right? So, in consultant mode, let's go with this one, okay? Jimmy, I am looking to, and I'm going to pause here and fill this in so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I filled it in here, so let me just expand it. Okay, so Jimmy, I'm looking to sell licenses to the BrassGate software systems to suitable businesses. My plan is to call up various independent games companies in the north of England and offer them to try out the BrassGate system under no obligation as part of a test of my systems. I will offer video-based training. I'll bet add training. There we go. And in person onboarding based on the company size, and offer out some small studio licenses for 2 months for them to test out the software. Can you suggest some suitable candidates in the northeast of England that I might call and give me some ideas on how I might engage with them? Okay, so this is 2 questions. It's actually quite complicated, and it requires Jimmy Bones to actually understand the nature of what it is I'm doing in the first place. So let's see what its response is when I click send. So here's what it's done. Okay, at the moment we're just in consult mode, so it doesn't have access to pure agent mode where it can go out, access the internet and get a lot of information for me. So it's gone into consultant mode. Remember, we select that down here. So it's thanked me for outlining the plans clearly. It's reflected on it and said that we've got a targeted regional focus, prioritising a try before you buy model, reducing risk for the studios, intending to provide hand-on supports. It's put its own constraints, and what it's done is added some post-it notes to our post-it note board. Okay, so that we know exactly, what things are up on the board here. What it's also done is it's given some guidance and ideas on finding potential candidates and some engagement approaches. Okay, so positioning the offer, for example, as a partnership opportunity. And it's got some grounding questions here, so I can expand upon this to try and get some, further ideas on where I want to go with this. Now, let's switch out of consultant mode, okay, and engage Jimmy on a coffee mode basis. So this is where we ask informal questions. Okay, so this is a pretty good question. Do you think this is a good approach based on what we're selling? Do you think it's worth the outlay and server fees? Well, yeah, that's a valid question, and I've set it to coffee mode. Let's send the question. Now remember, this isn't real time, so I will have to wait a moment or two while it considers the question, okay? We're not using fast mode, these are proper expensive queries. There we go, and here's our answer, okay, entering coffee mode. You're weighing whether offering no obligation trial licenses to indie game companies with strong onboarding support is a good match for BrassGate. We're a B2B software system designed for use by small to mid-size. You're considering try before you buy. You're concerned about the costs. Does this match your thinking? Is there anything you'd like to add or clarify, like whether you're expecting feedback, testimonials, or early revenue? Ideally, we want to turn this into early revenue. And I'll pause there and just hit send. Okay, so I asked it to give me the response, and it said that the approach is a solid fit for what we're selling, especially to indie game studios. People in the space are cautious about spending and want to see real value before they commit. So by offering a free trial with good support, we reduce their risk and make it easier to give it a chance. This can build trust and give us a real shot at converting to users. But on the cost side, server fees and timer investments, and the key question is whether we can get enough of these studios to see value and start paying after the trial. So some obvious things here. Now we can move into consultancy mode if we need to. I beg your pardon, strategist mode. So I just switched it across, and I'm just going to quickly feign some test here. So now we move into strategist mode, and I ask it to strategize the best way to do this while minimizing my overheads as much as possible and seeing as much return as possible. Pretty greedy thing. And the thing about Jimmy Bones is it's set to be an ethical sales tool. It's not there to teach us how to gouge, it's there to teach us how to actually get our product into market and sell it. And what this has given me now is the highest odds way to run a trial to revenue pilot while keeping server and support overhead low. It's opinionated, but it's going to keep a do not proceed option at the end. So here we go. We're not running free trials, for example, they're paid conversion experiments. We've got a control server overhead with hard caps and a single shared pilot architecture. We've got to qualify ruthlessly before we spend £1 on onboarding. We've got to make the trial thin and the conversion thick. Require commitment without scaring them off, which is the deposit or paid pilot lever. There's a couple of extra options in there. We've got to define success criteria correlating with buying. We've got to bake in the conversion path from day one. We've got pricing and packaging that maximise early revenue without heavy custom work. And our biggest risks are here: support time explosion, infrastructure creep, low intent pipeline, and product readiness risk with an opportunity cost. So its recommendation, if you want one concrete strategy, is a 5-studio pilot cohort requiring a paid pilot fee or refundable deposit, enforcing usage caps with auto suspend at day 60, using self-serve onboarding, only granting one-to-one help after they hit activation milestones, with a strict time frame with conversion decision meeting booked by day 45. Okay, now there is a proceeding here, so we can proceed on to choose the best pilot structure if I answer these 6 questions. So this is a massively complicated set of criteria it's put together here, but at the same time it's giving us a very, very, very solid output. Now let's say you want to add more documentation to this to give Jimmy something more to chew on. All I need to do for that is just go back to my document repo over here. Now let's imagine you haven't actually added any documents yourself and this is empty. This is going to give Jimmy a few problems anyway, because he needs to understand the nature of your business as it is, which he will want to discuss with you. But let's go and add a new document to this now. So if I come over here, we can see there's a drag and drop a document to click or browse. We accept PDFs, TXTs, DOCX, and also MD files. So all I need to do is go grab a file and drag it into here, just a PDF or docx or whatever, put it in here, and then once it gets in, it won't automatically index and approve it. You have to click approve like that, and then you have to click index, and when you index it, it will then pull out the information and start feeding this information into the database logistically to make what's known as a RAG index. Okay, and that's your point of truth, so that you know that it's working from your documentation and not just daydreaming and using imagination. Once you've done that, then you'll know it's safe to use the Jimmy Bones system. Okay, so any questions, you know how to get in touch, and I hope you find using Jimmy useful. Hopefully Jimmy will assist you in your sales campaigns and make basically pushing your product in a ethical way as easy as possible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye for now.